Hey guys, today I'd like to talk to you about something I've mentioned before. If any of you haven't read the book The Power of Full Engagement, I strongly recommend it. They argue that the difference between superior performance and good performance is energy management, physical, mental, emotional and spiritual. And they make a very strong case, very compelling case. But what I want to share with you today is just one insight. I reread the book and I finished rereading it last night, and the following struck me. They talk about routines, the importance of building routines. We all know that willpower is as good as the amount of sugar in your system, and when that runs out, willpower runs out with it. Routines are critical. So for example, if you want to change a behaviour, or if you want to improve at something, the key is to build a routine so you do it automatically. In the book they talk about a tennis player, Ivan Lendl, and he had this routine between each serve where he would bang his racket off his shoes and then he'd bounce the ball an X number of times, he'd wipe his brow and so on. His little routine. And this routine was all about bringing him back to a point where he could focus on what he was doing on the next shot. And this idea of routine is really important for you if you want to really become a superior performer. So for example, one of the physical routines they would suggest is early to bed, early to rise. Another routine they would suggest is that you eat your breakfast, meditation, exercise and so on. But you've got a routine, for example, that you want to invest in relationships. You would say, yeah, it's really important for me. One of my values, one of the things I really want to develop is I want to spend more time on the important relationships. For example, in my case, I schedule every fifth weekend with my elderly mother. So it's in the diary, it gets scheduled. And this brings me to another really, really important point that they make. You must measure, you must record. So you need to hold yourself accountable. So you build these routines and you schedule them and you measure them so you know you've actually done them. So for example, in my diary this morning, for example, I do this maybe around 9 o'clock in the morning. I got up at just before 6 o'clock. I meditated and then I had my stretch and my run, came back, had my shower, had my breakfast, did some reading and came to the office and where I'm sitting right now. The point is, that's in my diary. They're scheduled in my diary. And then I record I've actually done them. And this evening then when I go home, when I finish my work, whatever I have to do today, my various meetings, when I finish I go home, I've scheduled in to read and to meditate and so on again. And to get to bed early. So this thing of routine, this thing of scheduling, this thing of managing is really, really important. And it becomes a habit. It becomes part of the way you do things, part of the way you live. So you don't have to think about it every day and say, oh, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do next? You just go and do it. It is part of who and what you are. And so remember this. Habits, ultimately, these routines ultimately become who and what you are. And if you want to change, no point talking about, thinking about it, writing a book about it. What you got to do is you got to actually have to do something different and build routines, build these habits, measure them, record them, measure them, so that you know they're actually doing them. It is powerful, particularly if you focus on the keystone habits such as exercise, like health, all aspects of health, diet, relationships, and so on and so forth. So there's my insight for today. I hope it's of value to you. Remember, like us, join, subscribe, do all the various things, click on all the buttons you're supposed to click on, share this please. I put it out there for value, and the more people who see it, the more value there is. Thanks a lot.